Greetings of the day. I am Jenny Prashanth from TPS-B, roll number 28068. So today I'm going to be presenting a company review session about the biggest, one of the biggest automotive companies in the world called Toyota. So the first thing I want to tell about the reasons why I chose Toyota for my company review session. The first reason was I really like the country called Japan and the people because always have had a healthy respect for the people of Japan because of their discipline and stuff. So that's the first reason that motivated me to go for Toyota. And the second reason was uh, Toyota because of its production systems. So we were learning certain concepts in operations management like just in time and stuff, which were derived directly from Toyota, and how they make manufacturing so easy and efficient. So these are the main two reasons that made me choose Toyota for my company review session. So there are other reasons also. So we'll look at them in the coming slides. So, a little intro about Toyota. Toyota Motor Corporation is a Japanese automobile manufacturer. It is headquartered in a place called Toyota itself. So, it's named Toyota. The place itself is named Toyota, Aichi, Japan. Uh, so, this in the picture you can see is the headquarters located in Toyota City in Aichi actually. So as of now, Toyota is the 10th largest company in the world by revenue. Across all the companies, it's the 10th largest in the world. Uh, Toyota was the largest automobile manufacturer in 2019 by the production. So it's the largest automobile manufacturer. Currently, Toyota is the world's first automobile manufacturer to produce 10 million vehicles per year in the recent year, that is 2019. So the first company, and the company was founded by Kichiro Toyoda. So he's a founder in 1937, just 10 years before our independence. So it's a pretty old company as a spin-off from his father's company. So what happened was his father's father had a company called Toyota Industries, which is it was something into a different business, but Kichiro Toyoda converted into an automobile company bearing the same name called Toyota. So this is about the history of the company. So as you can see, it was founded in 1937. You can see here. So this is the first model of the car released in 1937. So and after that, you can see how the vehicles have progressed over the years towards 1950 and to the recent years, that is 2010 to 2020. And so there are four huge phases in the history of Toyota, which are highlighted in the blue arrow-like lines. So founding or entry into the automobile industry happened mostly between 1935 to 1940. Establishing the Toyota identity happened between 1950 to 1970, briefly 1975. So in these brief years, they tried to build up on their identity and brand image, whatever. And so after this 1970s, all the way through 2010, this was aiming to become a global corporation. Is the biggest global automobile company in the world. So now is into another phase after becoming a global brand. Now it is toward the mobility society of the future. It's now mostly focusing on the futuristic aspect of mobility, which is nothing but things like renewable energy, cars powered by renewable energy, and driverless cars and artificial intelligence, stuff like that. So that's what is the history, and that's how it's gonna progress, Toyota. So let's move to the next slide. So this slide gives you a glance about the number of plants or research development sites and distributors and what the company has. So let's try to dig down. Uh, as you can see, it's based out of Japan. The company is based out of Japan, so it's having 17 plants and 6 research and development sites. There are no distributors in Japan because they mostly don't need so many distributors in Japan because they mostly ship the cars outside. And North America, they have 10 plants. The highest number of plants are in Asia, and you know why the reason for that, because Asia you have the cheap labor costs and stuff like that. So you can understand the logical sequence as to why they chose why they have more plants in China. Sorry, Asia, and they have comparatively less in Europe and North America. This is because the costs are very high to produce over there. So that's a that's the strategy behind this. And they have, if you look at here, they have 3,70,870 employees right now, and you can see major part of them, almost more than 50% of them are from Japan. Uh, and next comes Asia and North America. So employment, they are mostly, you can say that they're mostly hired from Japanese people. And total vehicle production, as of 2019, it is 89 lakh 8,985,186 number of units were produced in 2019. uh, and the pie chart looks almost the same. The most bulk of this production happened in Japan, followed by Asia and North America. Same thing happened, but Asia and North America have a bigger share in terms of production when compared to the number of employees. So let's move on. So these are the key people of Toyota. So the founder, as I already mentioned in the first slide, it's Kichiro Toyoda in back then in 1937, and now the present chairman of the board is Takeshi Uchiyamada. He is the current chairman, he's the leader, and the CEO and president is Akio Toyoda. So these three are the key people of Toyota. So if you look at the business segments, it not only has the automotive business, it has a few other businesses like the financial services and others like industrial equipment. So automotive mainly consists of the design, manufacture, sales of passenger cars, recreational vehicles, SUVs, and also the component parts or something like that, accessories. And the financial services also is like a subsidiary to this automotive unit because it is only into providing finance to the automotive whoever purchases cars and the car dealers. So it's they both are mostly interconnected. uh, the other ones are nothing but industrial vehicles. That is like forklifts. Forklifts are nothing but in huge warehouses where you have to lift the shipments and stuff them in the racks. You use certain machines. They are called forklifts, and Toyota has is in the manufacture of those forklifts as well, and certain industrial machinery as well. So these are the three broad business segments into which Toyota is present. So if you look at the sales by the region, so we already discussed the number of sales, that was 8,976,795 units, and 75 units in 2019. The bulk of the sale of Toyota comes from North America. This is a uh, very good observation that you have to make because Japan, being a very Japan and America don't share a very good relationship, especially after the what happened in the World War II. But still, Japan is making much of its revenue or sales, whatever, from North America, mostly the US. So that is a very significant point for a company. Uh, so company like Toyota, and the next best sales come from Japan, and next followed by Europe. And here, if you see, Asia doesn't generate much amount of sales for Toyota. This is because I personally feel that Toyota doesn't concentrate more on the Asian market. If you even see in our country, there are only few cars or few models or few segments that Toyota is into. If you see the passenger car segment, It is only into the SUVs. Mostly you have Fortuner, the Innova. These are the only flagship models of Toyota. You don't have a very good a sedan or a small car in Toyota in our market. So that may be the reason that's why the total sales percentage out of the global sales is very less out of Asia, and that is not the case with rest of the world. They have many varieties and lot of different models in North America and Europe. They're completely different. So that's why they're generating good sales in Europe and North America. So that is something is the observation made. And coming to the Toyota global vision, Toyota will lead the way to the future of mobility, enriching lives around the world with the safest and most responsible ways of moving people. Through our commitment to quality, constant innovation, respect for the planet, we aim to exceed expectations and be rewarded with a smile. We will meet our challenging goals by engaging the talent and passion of people who believe there is always a better way. So this is the vision statement of Toyota. So let's move on. Coming to the most interesting part for me in choosing this data, it's production systems. These are the two concepts of production systems that were introduced to the world by Toyota itself. So we have these concepts in operations management in one of our subjects that we study, and these two, Jidoka and just-in-time concepts, actually took their birth in Toyota itself. So that is very great that they introduced a philosophy to this world. So, and these two are a bit related. So let's discuss what are they about. Production system which is steeped in the philosophy of complete elimination of all waste. So both of these concepts focus on only one thing: elimination of waste, non-utilization of resources. That is what they do. And Jidoka is a concept where you know uh, it emphasizes more on producing more in less time and with a human touch. It is simply stated as automation with human touch. So in this way, with the human touch, you can avoid physical many errors, and at the same time with the automation, you can increase the speed of production. So let's say if some other company can produce 5 cars in a day, Toyota will produce some 50 cars. So that's what is a operation efficiency. And just in time is nothing but uh, it's all about saving time, and here there's a very good definition stated what is needed, when it is needed, and the amount needed. So that's what, if you know answers to these three questions, then you can make use of a just-in-time principle and make the most out of your operation system. So these two are the very interesting concepts about the Toyota production system. So products, so there are 70 different models sold under the name of Toyota. So as I said, uh, we might not be familiar with most of the models that are stated here, because all these models are mostly you can see them in America, Europe, even in Japan, but not you can see only one or two, three things are among these names in our Asian market. Like you can see Corolla, you can see Land Cruiser, you can see a Highlander sometimes. These are the only ones. Others are all restricted to American European markets. So in the vans, it has models like Sienna, Previa, Tarago, Estima. Trucks, it has the following models, and in sedans, it has Avalon, Camry, Corolla, Eco. They're very famous models, in fact, in all of the US and Europe. SUVs, it has 4Runner, FJ Cruiser, Highlander Hybrid, Land Cruiser. And one point about Land Cruiser, it is mostly used by our chief ministers in their convoys actually. So that it's so great kind of a car in terms of safety stuff. So in wagons, it has Prius plug-in, Prius V, Prius C. So plug-in is nothing but an electric car. So these are the different kind of products under 70 different models. So the major competitors. So Toyota is a very huge automotive conglomerate. So So the direct competitors are also huge conglomerates like Ford Motors, General Motors, Honda, and Volkswagen Group. So these are the huge ones, and I think only the Volkswagen Motors is ahead of Toyota. Volkswagen is number one, and Toyota is number two on the biggest companies, biggest automotive companies in by revenue. So if you look at the SWOT analysis now, uh, first look at the strengths. So strong financial performance. So Toyota has a very strong financial performance, which I'll definitely show in detail in the coming slides because I have summary of the financial statements. So that is one of the biggest strengths. Brand image, and Toyota is a very good brand. It's perceived as a very good brand uh, everywhere, even in India, even in the Asian market. It is a very good brand. It's not taken like it is a cheap kind of a brand or something. It's a premium kind of a brand, and strong performance in Asia region. So even with the limited number of models in Asia region, it based on the number of models, it performs very well. So that's a very good strength of this company. Research and development activities. So as I already showed you in that map where there were plants and research and development centers, you can see there were so many research and development centers, and research and development centers for automobile companies is very essential these days, as because uh, so many companies are involved in development of uh, vehicles that run on alternative fuels or electric technology. So new technology, uh, so a lot of companies are leveraging a lot on new technology. So it becomes imperative for automotive companies to have research and development activities. Toyota production system, the biggest strength, as per my view, is Toyota production system, which we already discussed. So, and the weaknesses are the company recalled 1.75 million vehicles in 2014, and this was a long-standing problem. So this is only one instance where they recalled 1.75 million vehicles. There have been many instances in the past where they had to call many vehicles back. So what this recalling is nothing but uh, if they found out some emission standards were not met or something. So these cars are shipped to every countries, every regions, and their own storage spaces. So the company, if they found a defect, they had to call every model manufactured in that particular year or whatever. So it involves huge cost, and that's a huge backlash. Even in the minds of the customers or people, it puts a negative thing that this company called back its car. So maybe there's a problem with them as well also. And an increase in recourse not only results in losses but also harms the brand image of the company, as I said. So this is a problem. This is the only weakness Toyota has. It recalls many vehicles every year. This has been happening, repeating many a times. So it has to work on this thing. So let's move on to opportunities. Increasing demand for hybrid electric vehicles like Prius. So this Prius is nothing but a hybrid electric vehicle. So now, as you can see, there is increasing demand for electric vehicles due to there are two reasons for that. One is the environmental issue, and second one is we may not get these fossil fuels for eternity. So, for 50 years or some 40-50 years down the line, you may not be using diesel and petrol cars forever. So, these will be the future. So, an increasing demand, and Toyota has a huge opportunity in this sector, in this segment. Opportunities in Asian market. So even if it's a strength and it's an opportunity, because in Asian market there has been good response to Toyota, but it is still restricted to only a few models, I said. So it has to leverage on that opportunity. It has to release more and more models in the Asian market, try to expand and capture the market. So that's an opportunity. New models like Toyota Aygo for the youth. There's a new model called Toyota Aygo, which is mostly not in India, so it's in the US market. So this has done a very good thing for the small markets, small car segment. So this has been good. And the threats are economic slowdown. Economic slowdown that affects every business, but automotive sector is very strongly affected by these economic slowdowns, as we already know. Recently, also back when recently before this pandemic, there was a slowdown actually, and automotive sector was hit very hard. So that is a threat. Competition in the global automotive market. So there is a very fierce competition among all these huge companies. So that's a threat. Any mistake and you are out of business. Tightening emission standards. So this is one of the biggest threat that is that is reflected in the weaknesses as well. So once these emission standards are being tightened, so they had to recall the models back to rectify the problem. So that's becoming a problem. Appreciating Japanese yen. So Japanese yen, so whatever they earn revenue, that is earned in yens because that's a Japanese company. So there is a peculiar thing that yen versus dollar is a very volatile currency. So whenever it depreciates in value compared to US dollars, so it earns a very less amount of profits, even if it makes sales and stuff. So that's a threat. So it has to find ways to now it can't influence the Japanese yen all by itself, but should find ways to make more out of the money that it's generating. So Toyota strategy. So what is the road ahead for Toyota? So increase competitive strength to advanced technology. So Toyota is heavily leveraging on technology, as you can see even in the research and development activities. So it's mostly focusing on three areas in the future. The first one is environmental technology. As you can see, fuel consumption, emission, and recoverability. Fuel consumption, definitely, as I said, diesel and petrol are not gonna be for eternity. We have to find an alternative source of powering these vehicles. And emission standards. This has been a huge problem for Toyota, so it has to find a way to set a huge standards and recoverability. So so whenever whenever there's a bad business cycles or slowdowns, so you should be in a position to recover because of the downturns. Hybrid vehicles and next generation fuel cells. So hybrid vehicles, as I already said, they can run on two kinds of fuels. They even have a petrol tank or something like that, and they also have a battery at the same time or something like that. So and they also can run on gases or something like that. So you can provide multiple fuel options. So that is very useful in the coming days. So it's leveraging its technology on that. And next generation fuel cells. So fuel cells is the futuristic concept where which can give a huge amount of energy, which will drastically revolutionize the fuel industry. So it might be possible in the future. So company has to look forward for it. Cost reduction. So Toyota, one of the bottleneck I identified was in the financials. Of course, I'll discuss it later. But what happened is it is increasing its expenses, and it has a decreased operating incomes over the years. So it is because it's unable to reduce costs. So at some time it was brilliant in that in the sense because of its production system, but again it's unable to control its cost in the recent times, and that's a problem. So it has to find some other ways to get over this. Increased emphasis on financial services and information communication. So it has a financial services wing, as I already said. So it should try and expand it more, not only to the car buyers or whatever. It has to expand into the financial sector and information technology sector as well. It has the scope. So that would be the strategy for Toyota in the future. So so let's now discuss why Toyota is such a successful company, even being from Japan and following some old methods of production or something like that. So continuous improvement. So there has been continuous improvement in the company. There has never been idle the same kind of a car, as you even saw in the history slide. How the cars have progressed over the years. Every session they added the latest technology. So it's continuous improvement because of the research and development. Customer satisfaction, and that's a very important factor for success of Toyota is customer satisfaction. Customers are very satisfied whenever they buy Toyota because of its less maintenance cost and improved performance. They are great quality products, in fact. So the second and third point are complement each other. So unique production system. So I already re-emphasized it for 2 times. So unique production system, that's the biggest strength. Respect for people, and Toyota is very courteous for its employees. It's one of the best places to work for around the world. So that has been another reason for its success. Segmentation, targeting, and positioning, nurtured by its variety of offers and ad. It does a very good plethora of marketing activities. So that has also contributed a lot to its success in the global market. So now let's get into the most awaited section called the financial highlights of Toyota. So first, let us look at the net revenue. So as you can see, so I'll try to highlight it. So this is the net revenue chart. So what happened in as you can see, there has been consistent growth over the past 5 years. But what it looks pretty good. But let's look at this now, because this is net revenues. This is operating income. So operating income gives you a much clearer picture of what's happening. Even if the net revenue is their earning is increasing, it's not the same with the operating revenue. They have a huge decrease in 2017, and still it's recovering, but it's still on a downturn. So this is clear suggestive of the fact that they have more expenses compared to what they are earning. So they are not able to convert everything that they earn into profits. So so they have to focus on something like that. And let's see at the expenditure. So you will get a much easier, a much better picture of it. See how it's increasing every year. They're spending more on capital expenditure, which on one side it's a very good thing as well, because they should invest, they should try out new things. But because of this operating income, maybe they should try to reduce it somewhat. And R&D expenditure, it has been consistent over the years, so there's no problem with this particular section. So maybe they should even try to increase more in the R&D expenses, and try to reduce this in the capital expenses. So that's the financial highlights. So next, let's move on. So let's look at the corporate and stock information. So the company is named Toyota Motor Corporation, established 1937. So fiscal end March 31, the same as ours. So number of shares, you can see 10 billion shares. Number of shares issued, authorized, there were authorized 10 billion shares, but they only issued 3.2 billion shares. So number of treasury shares. So, okay, so it's listed in Tokyo, the Tokyo Stock Exchange, and also in New York Stock Exchange and London Stock Exchange. So if you see the majority stakeholders here, Japan Trustee Services Bank is a majority stakeholder. So as you can see, it's owned by mostly the big giants of Japan, like Trustee Services Bank and Industry Corporation Bank of Japan. So it's not mostly like individual owners or something like that. So many, it's has huge companies from Japan having ownership on the uh, Toyota. But still, I think Akio Toyoda still owns the ownership rights, because this is only 13.07%. He owns more than that, so he ultimately has the majority stakeholder. So coming to the corporate social responsibility, the preamble of the corporate social responsibility of Toyota is policy contribution towards sustainable development. So sustainable development is nothing but there are certain goals as given by the World Health Organization, or the uh, organization towards the development of actually this sustainable development goals were given by United Nations, and Toyota makes sure that its CSR is in line to what the United Nations uh, tries to promote. And so there are few things in which it tries to leverage more on CSR. First is the environment. So the environment, it mostly focuses on a low carbon society based on a recycling based society, and as a mark of that, it has established a plant called Susumi plant, which is completely runs on renewable energy. Education. Toyota says manufacturing begins with educating people. It's also involved in a lot of programs educating children who need education. Traffic safety promotes traffic safety a lot because it's in the automobile sector, and it's improved traffic safety between people, vehicles, and the traffic environment. It tries to improve the traffic situation on the world through its corporate social responsibility, society, culture, and more. So these are it leverages. It has many activities in the society to save the society, foster culture, broadening horizons, and revitalizing local cultures. So there are some awards which Toyota received. Toyota was awarded Gold Rating and Sustainability Survey conducted by EcoVadis in 2018. Toyota has been selected for inclusion in A list, which is highest evaluation of climate change and water by CDP. So it's very responsible in this environment sector. It's even recognized as a very good contributor for the climate change. Toyota has continued to be selected as constituent of FTSE4 Good Index series for semi-annual review in June 2020. Toyota has been selected as a constituent of the MSCI Japan Select Leaders Index. So it has been selected, given the respect honor of one of the great leadership companies in Japan. So this is about Toyota. So thank you.